Yeah, that's weird. Oh boy. Okay, it says.
Let's do this.
So we are now live streaming. When you said 3 minutes and 30 whatever seconds a couple minutes ago, that just showed up on the stream.
Ah, got it.
All right. So we're recording. We're live on YouTube. For anybody that is seeing this live or in the future, welcome to our first try at live streaming anything. This is Shane Williams from Zaxxon Media, Toyota Cruisers and Trucks mostly, and our new Outdoor Enthusiast Collective, which is kind of like our little collection of friends that love outdoor stuff. And I've got Mercedes and Andy from Crankshaft Culture.
Thanks for having us.
Sure thing. So now we have two of the three things going. I'm going to try to do a screen share and we can just kind of maybe chat about, oh, and now I can see myself. I don't like that. Okay. All right. So do you guys see my screen okay?
I do.
Oh, awesome. So I thought maybe we'll just like talk about everything that's going on. Obviously, the COVID-19 thing is on top of everybody's minds. We just got in Colorado, we got our stay-at-home order as of this morning. You guys have been living that way for over a week, I think, right?
Just a few days actually here in Oregon. Washington, yeah, just a few days.
I think he started working from home a few days before they enacted the mandate.
Yeah. The governor didn't give the order until I think Monday, but I have been working from home. I work for Warren Industries as the strategic communications manager, and so I've been able to work from home about a little over a week.
Awesome. All right. Just real quick before we get too far, I'm going to post on social that we're actually live, so maybe somebody can actually see what we're doing here. OEC video vids. See, I make these short URLs and then I forget what I call them, and then it breaks everything. So I'm going to put this up on Facebook. We're live with Culture. No, I don't want to sponsor the post, Facebook. All right, so cool. So we'll post there. Maybe we'll get some people to show up and hang out with us. So anybody that is seeing us live, you can say something on the YouTube chat. I think you have to sign into chat, but you can ask us questions. There's about a 20 or 30 second delay, I think. So just keep that in mind if you ask us a question.
Yeah. I said, come see this, and then, yeah.
Cool. So good there. Yeah, let's talk a little bit about what you guys do at Crankshaft Culture. And, and then
you bet.
I want to hear about Alcan.
Yeah, so Crankshaft Culture is one of our websites that we run. We've had it since about 2016. And sort of the mantra for the website is that every vehicle is an adventure. So whether that's like the Mitsubishi Delica van you see there, whether it's our Mitsubishi Pajero that you see there, or any other vehicle, on-road, off-road, you can have fun, you can go do things, you can go see the world, you can do whatever you want, but it's all, we're all car people, right? Car truck people, we're all cut from the same stone, really, right? Whether you're into Toyotas or whether you're into, Mitsubishis or Fords, or it doesn't matter, right? And so that's what the website started out as. As you can see there, we recently got back from the 2020 Alcan 5000 Winter Rally. So we've been starting to ramp up some of the content on that. Yeah. So we have appeared on a few podcasts, like you can see here from Auto Off Topic, Yak Radio out of San Diego. We just did the Off-Road podcast.
Wow.
With those guys. And then
we submitted a bunch of videos and photographs to Tim Esterdahl with Pickup Truck and SUV Talk yesterday. So he's currently reviewing that today, and that's going to be episode 5 of our YouTube series with them.
Oh, yeah, I've seen some of your stuff on his channel already. So awesome. That'll be, So what was like the, I don't know, most surprising thing about the Alcan? Because we can all say it was hard and it was long, and but what was like the most surprising thing?
I think to be honest, I think the most surprising thing for me was the landscape above the Arctic Circle and whatnot. I kind of expected it to look sort of like it does in that photo, where it's just flat and ice and snow, and there are mountains and hills and trees all the way up until you get really far north. I mean, like within, 150 miles from the Arctic Ocean, there's beautiful mountains and trees and wildlife. And I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting this just frozen tundra, if you will. So
I think the most surprising thing for me, which is a great question, by the way, it was the animals, the wildlife that we saw. In 2014, Andy and I drove all throughout the lower part of Canada, from Alberta to British Columbia and back down through Wyoming, just wanting to do a great celebration of our 10-year wedding anniversary. We didn't see anything, even though we saw tons of signs that said bighorn sheep, moose, and elk and everything. We didn't see a thing. Here, we saw 7 moose. We saw a herd of caribou. We saw bighorn sheep. We saw bison or buffalo that came out of our ears, which we didn't think they were in the Arctic, but they're in the Arctic.
Well, it was not. It was northern British Columbia, so it was below that.
Yeah. But just a ton of stuff, some snowbirds. I can't remember the name of them. Ptarmigans, I think.
Spelled with a P, I believe.
PT or TP or something. TP. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, I think so. The wildlife was the biggest surprise to see so much of it.
Awesome. All right. Sorry, I'm trying to, since we've never actually done this before, I'm trying to, in real time, figure out the best way, like they can see us talking and we can look at websites. We'll see.
There you go.
Cool. So yeah, Alaska has been on our list. I want to say since Scott Brady, one of the original Expeditions West things way back in early 2000s, they took the second Gen Tacoma, or maybe even first Gen Tacoma, all the way to the Arctic Circle. So it's been on my list for a very long time to check out, and we haven't made it up there yet. So
it was on our bucket list as well. We crossed off lots of bucket list items on this, from seeing the Arctic Ocean and crossing the Arctic Circle to getting to Alaska and seeing the Iditarod dog sled race. We killed lots of birds with a couple of stones on this one.
And got a lot of stones in our windshield and our headlights too.
It's true.
That reminds me, didn't you just recently do an Iceland trip as well, right?
We did.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were in Iceland in July of 2019.
Where it was supposed to have been warm.
And apparently it's warm compared to where we were. It rained a lot. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. We camped our way around through the whole entire country, and had a 2020 Suzuki Jimny that we had as a rental, and camped with our MSR Hubba Tour 3, I believe it is, tent. And yeah, it was definitely interesting, especially camping in a monsoon in a foreign country. So a lot of mountain house was had.
Yeah.
And did you learn all of the 100 words for wind that they have in Iceland? In Icelandic?
I'm fairly certain I learned no Icelandic the entire time we were there.
But you learned a lot of swear words or combinations of.
Well, not in Icelandic, but yeah, Icelandic is I found to be a very, very difficult language. We have written a few stories about it for a variety of publications, and one of which there's this sign we came across. It's a huge sign, road sign, and it must have, I don't know, 40 town names on it. It's almost unreadable. I mean, even if you spoke Icelandic, the sign is just so hard to read. But yeah, lots of consonants strung together with very few vowels. So, and there are letters in the Icelandic alphabet that don't exist in the English. So we didn't even know.
When guttural.
People would say like, "Where are you headed today?" I'm like, "Well, I can't actually pronounce it."
On a map.
Yeah, point to you on a map.
This little thing.
But Iceland was a very interesting place.
So I guess it's been about a year and a half. We did our 48 hours in Iceland, Icelandic Air. There's a thing where, hey, if you stop in Iceland, then you get a really inexpensive fare. So that's what we did for we have a site called Live to Explore, which is where we just write about all the random stuff we do with our kids.
Nice.
So I remember you guys saying that. So literally in 48 hours, we landed at like 6 a.m. Mm-hmm. We got this photo at like 7:30 in the morning. And then
that's awesome.
Basically this is just a bunch of photos about our little adventure. We hit the
Blue Lagoon.
Yep.
We hit Blue Lagoon, and he was about 7 or 8 at the time, swallowed too much of the water.
Oh,
which has effects that we're not going to talk about on a live stream.
I'm sure. What time of year were you there?
This would have been September.
Okay.
Because we did it on our way to the Netherlands. Yeah.
Nice.
Got it.
But I managed to get a couple of nice photos that
very cool.
Came out really cool. So yeah, like in just our little 48-hour trip, we learned that it's very cold and windy pretty much all the
Black
time
Sands.
in Iceland.
Yep.
Yeah, very
I just
cool.
remembered that, and it's something that we both have shared. So you guys have probably seen a few of these places.
Yes,
Yes.
we've
You were
traveled
there
a
for a
lot of
while,
ground.
right?
We know
Did
where
you
some
say
of
2
those
weeks?
are. Very cool.
Oh, apparently I turned Siri on my laptop for a second, so everybody got muted. So cool. That's Iceland. Maybe real quick, let's talk about kind of going back to the cancellation of things. You guys probably saw this. Everybody in our industry did, I think, that Overland Expo West for the first time is rescheduled to July, which means that I think it's like 2 weeks before the Overland Expo Rocky Mountain, or what do they call it?
Mountain West. I think
Mountain West. I can't keep track of the names of these things.
Yep.
So
Same.
There's a lot of them.
And Cruise Moab was canceled. Like,
Oh, wow.
pretty much almost all the things in the next 2 months have been canceled. So
Yeah. I know I know it's not Toyota related, but Easter Jeep Safari was canceled. There's actually quite a bit of Toyotas that still come out.
Yeah.
And then Jeep Beach, another Jeep event in Florida, that was canceled. Obviously, this was rescheduled. And then then we're looking at things like Northwest, more regional stuff, Northwest Overland Rally in Washington, BC Overland Rally in British Columbia, Rocky Mountain Overland Rally, or Rocky Mountain Overland Rally in Colorado.
Yep. That sounds right.
So now it's all, everything's up in the air at the moment in terms of, we've been told not to book travel yet for anything yet. So
and since I came back from the Alcan 5000 rally, me being full-time freelancer, I travel quite a bit, write for different magazines, and I also do a host of other PR and marketing things. But I had 4 trips that was planned already, so we had to try to reschedule, or if it was canceled, try to get money back. And I'm still fighting with airlines and rental car companies to try to get some of those monies back. In addition to off-road and overlanding things, there was a Subaru National Subaru event that I was actually supposed to be on today or tomorrow or something that got canceled down in Calistoga. So that was a national event, that was going to be a launch for their new Outback. So, personal trips, anything automotive related, everything is just, ground to a screeching halt.
So are they going to figure out a different way to get you guys access to these new vehicles? Or are they just going to send press releases?
I'm sure they will at some point, but I mean, nobody really knows, it's such an unknown as to how long this is going to last. Right. And I mean, there's another event in May, my last event in May that hasn't been rescheduled yet. Maybe it's with Southern Expeditions. It's the Overland Challenge on the East Coast. I believe it's in North Carolina. So, they might have to end up pushing that off as well. And once that compounds, you've got March events. We flew back on March 10th. Then end of March got canceled. April started to get canceled. May started to get canceled. And so if they're not canceled, they're being pushed. And who knows with June and July. So we're trying to be as fluid as best as possible. Me as media, Andy as vendor, for Warren Industries, and figure out what happens. Try to roll with it, I guess. And
so you mentioned this one. We talked about it earlier. This looks like a really cool challenge. But you haven't been to this yet? Is this the first year they're doing it? Or?
I haven't. I actually learned about it when I was at Overland Expo East last year in it was late last year, and met the fine folks and Derek, who heads it up at Southern Expeditions, and they got to talking about it. And it looks like a really neat recovery and off-road type of a challenge with different teams involved. It's a weekend long. Again, this is right now in May. I can't speak for their plans, but they may be looking to reschedule just later on, of course, to have sensitivity to the whole virus situation that's going on out there.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see if they have a schedule of what they actually do during the event. It sounds really cool.
Yeah, definitely.
And I saw that it's family friendly, pet friendly.
Yes.
I know that's important for a lot of people. Anything that we do. Yeah. Like we have a 9-year-old or a 10-year-old now and a 6-year-old. So anything we do, we try to make it family friendly if we can at all. So this looks like it'll be really cool. So hopefully they get it, either goes forward or they reschedule it so we can get it and check it out. So very neat. All right. I wanted to show off one of my favorite articles that we've done in our little magazine this year. And by we, I mean you. This is so we just published our winter issue, and this is the the Toyotas for Life article. So for those that don't know, Mercedes writes for Toyota Cruisers and Trucks every once in a while. And the first 2019 Rebel Rally article covered the FJ Cruisers. And that was in our fall 2019 issue. So this one talks about all the non-FJ Toyotas. And just, it's really neat the way that you can kind of capture, I don't know, just the joy and the challenges, right? And as a previous competitor, it's really, I think your take on this stuff is really cool. And
thank you.
I do have to show off this amazing cover. So not the first
great cover.
Not the first GX ever on our cover, but probably the coolest. And I want to say it's in here and I read it. Rochelle, they picked that up like 2 weeks or something before the rally started. I know it was like a really short time frame.
Yeah. They didn't have it very long at all. So for them to be able to turn it around and get some nice meaty tires on it and to be able to win the thing with it. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
And that, By the way, to me,
you guys have a great layout on this article.
Yeah,
it looks really good.
Kathy did an awesome job, and you guys at TCT do a fantastic job.
So I appreciate that, and that is 100% Kathy. Like every issue, she's been working with us for, I think, going on 2 years now, and every issue, I'm always just so amazed that she makes our stuff look so great. She's very talented, and I think she has more time in the magazine industry than the rest of us combined. So that probably helps. Her layouts are great. All the new logos are great. All the new branding we've done in the last 2 years. It's all from, I never hit post on that. It's all thanks to Kathy. She really does an awesome job. And our amazing contributors as well. So if you haven't checked that out yet, definitely check that out. We don't need to be completely Toyota focused, but I'm extremely proud of that. So that's good. All right, what else is going on in the world we can talk about? You guys probably use Exhibition Portal like I do. Like if I need some inspiration or I just need something cool to check out other than what we're working on for TCT, I always hit up Exhibition Portal, either for the forums or for this. Have you guys had any hands-on on the new Defender yet?
We haven't.
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah, I'm interested to see. I mean, again, I am a Toyota guy, but I appreciate all the other vehicles, even Jeeps.
Right.
I just wonder, I mean, it looks cool. It seems to be very capable. I just wonder how it's going to hold out like long-term,
Right.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I do think it's a neat vehicle. I think it's got character and all that. Without doing a terribly shameless plug, it doesn't, you can get the Warn winch on it, and it is very capable. But we're going to have some pretty neat vehicles coming out here in the next couple of years between that and the new Bronco. And we've already got some other neat products coming out here.
And the Gladiator that just came out.
Right. So, and I know Toyota recently announced its intentions for the next couple of years with regards to Tacoma and Land Cruiser and Sequoia and stuff. So it's neat to see some competition in the off-road sphere, and I think it makes all of the companies perform better, more on their A game.
Right, more competition.
Yeah, 100% agree. So you mentioned the new Bronco, and I just remembered that these spy photos showed up. So what's interesting is if you kind of look at that, and then you kind of look at, they're actually pretty similar in design and I don't know, kind of feel, kind of that small off-roader. A little more refined, I would say, than the modern Jeeps.
And this is the Bronco Sport we're looking at here. So this is the baby Bronco.
Is there two different versions?
Yes, there's a full-size Bronco, which is more along the size of like a 4Runner. And then there's the baby Bronco, which is more like a RAV4 kind of thing, as I understand. That's going to be your full-size Bronco right there.
Oh, all right. And apparently this one is postponed due to, like everything, postponed due to COVID-19. Okay, I guess I did see both photos. I didn't put that together. That this is like a full size, and this is a tiny one. And they're both supposed to come out around the same time?
As I understand it, they're going to be fairly close.
Okay. Oh, I grew up in the Detroit area, about a mile from the Ford plant, where they used to make Ford trucks. So, so there's still a little bit of a soft spot in my heart for Fords. So I'll be interested to see how those come out. And then obviously going back to the Defender, are these available right now, or probably
I
a
think very
pre-order?
soon.
Yeah,
I think this
I'm
was
not
the
sure.
global launch, which was in Africa. I think
Right.
Namibia, if I remember correctly. But they should be available fairly soon, as I understand.
Cool.
I think we had
All
some
right.
friends on that trip, didn't we? Yeah.
Always something going on. What else should we check out and chat about for anybody that will be tuning in now or later? Let's see.
Boy, it's so weird right now because all the events
Yeah.
keep getting canceled, and so many of us are at home, sort of doing our things. That I think there's a lot of people that are going to get a lot of projects done, whether that's on their wheeling rigs or their overland rigs, or even just changing the oil on the Corolla or something like that.
Yeah.
I know myself. I went out and got a whole bunch of oil filters and a ton of oil because I've got a bunch of oil changes to do. And then I've got to replace an axle and all kinds of stuff. So yeah, this is a big deal. So Warren Industries recently announced the acquisition of Factor 55. That was last Wednesday. So I guess that's a week ago almost. So
Yeah.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah. So we are extremely excited to have them come on board, and for the two companies, both of which are, we consider them to be a premium brand. Both of our brands coming together to make even better vehicle recovery options and equipment. So very stoked to see Factor 55 and Warren teaming up, and I think it'll be a great match.
We've loved Factor 55 for years, so I was extremely excited about that announcement when it came out last week, and obviously look forward to. And Factor 55, where are they located?
Idaho, Boise,
Idaho.
Around Boise, Idaho.
Okay, all right. I'm like, I know they're northwest somewhere, kind of up that way. So that reminds me of another one that we could talk about that happened a while ago, and that is when Yakima acquired Road Shower.
Oh yeah,
Right,
Road Shower.
Yeah. Yep.
Let's see, when was that? Oh, that was back in December. I think we talked about that somewhere in the TCT world. Yeah, so that's another. So what I'm starting to sense a trend of the larger companies starting to, and I don't think Warren is in this category because Warren has been a big supporter of our quote unquote overland world for a very long time, but we're starting to see other automotive or aftermarket manufacturers that traditionally haven't been overland focused, but maybe have been camping focused or outdoor focused, like Yakima, starting to do more. I'm going to say overland like 50 times, even though I think that term is maybe a little bit overused.
Just a little.
But we're starting to see a lot more, right? We're starting to see a lot more of that. Does that mean that the small overland world, that those of us that have been in it for a long time, is that going away, or does that just mean it's going to be that much cooler and better?
No, I just think.
Oh no, go ahead.
I was just going to say. I mean, people have been traveling overland routes. I mean, in the quote literal sense of overlanding, like have been going from point A to point B, in vehicles since there were vehicles. And whatever you want to call it, it's not going away. It's just getting different names and more mainstream exposure. Those people that have been doing this for 30, 40 years, people, like Gary and Monica Westcott and some of these, Pablo and Anna, they've been doing this for decades. That's not going to change. Those people are always going to be doing it. I think what's changed more is the perception of what it is. I mean, it went from when I first became aware of it. I looked at those people who were, crossing continents, and living out of their vehicles and doing that as overlanding. And now it seems like if you've got a 4-wheel drive or even a 2-wheel drive or whatever, it doesn't matter. But if you've got a vehicle and you're going somewhere, oh, you're overlanding, or you're on an expedition. Like, I don't really take an expedition to the state park personally, but call whatever you want to call it.
Well, and that brings up a good point, as the audience has expanded so much more so, and it's become kind of the cool thing to do. And it has been for years. it's car camping. Well, yeah, but you can be car camping to your, neighborhood state park that's now closed. At least in Oregon, all state parks are closed for the virus. But or you could have your weekend warriors. You could have people that take a couple weeks off during a year, or you could have people like like Andy had mentioned, that literally live out of their vehicles, and just travel the world. As different companies like Yakima or other these companies,
Thule acquired
Thule, right?
Another one.
Tents. That's a big one.
As you see these big companies that are that their big foundation is more mainstream people starting to acquire like Tepui tents or Road Shower or things like that. They want to get into that piece because they know that there's a lot of money there. There's still a lot of money there. We don't know how long that's going to last. How long this craze of cool products and, niche things and what can we do to bolt on, other things. I'm not saying bolt-ons are bad by any means, but what I'm saying is it is so mainstream that everybody wants a piece of the pie. So it's been interesting to see, and we don't know from a company perspective how long that's going to be, where bigger companies are going to swallow up smaller companies, but it happens quite often all the time.
I personally think that there was a point for me at which this became like, oh, this is going to become a thing, and it was I think it was about, let's see, it's 2020, so it must have been like 5 or 6 years ago, and maybe not even that long ago. And a friend of mine at the time was working for ARB. And he says, so ARB is putting a right-hand drive, diesel-powered, I think it was a 60 series, may have been an 80 series. I think it was an 80 series. A right-hand drive, diesel-powered 80 series Land Cruiser inside their flagship store, and they want to build out a vignette. We're going to put a bumper on there. You want to put a winch on there? And I'm like, yeah. And they drove that JDM Land Cruiser into the flagship store at REI in Seattle. And I was like, whoa, like this is at REI. I'm like, that was like the off-road world and the camping world. And then they
outdoors
met.
World. Yeah.
And
that's interesting.
I think, you go into an REI, for example, and now they're selling Yakima rooftop tents. I mean, you're seeing so much more of this become more mainstream. And you know what? I call it whatever you want to call it. I do get tired of hearing people say, "Oh, we're going on an overlanding trip for the weekend or whatever." I'm like, "Oh, whatever, fine." But I don't really care what you call it.
I think for me, whether it's camping, overlanding, adventuring, getting out there, everybody's an enthusiast. And as long as we get out there, be safe, have fun, and be respectful of Mother Nature, I think that's really important. And so, it's great to have more enthusiasts out there, to have people that are willing to be and wanting to be stewards of the landscape and hopefully leaving, areas where they found trash, leaving it cleaner than where they had found it from originally and things like that. I think it's healthy. It's healthy for that to happen and things to expand. I just hope that people do it in a very courteous manner, so to speak, not tear up the earth and all that stuff.
Brings up a very good point of leaving it better than you found it. So I'm going to pull up. So what I'm going to do is, when we're done with this live stream, all these tabs that I'm opening, I'll put those in the comments of the video on YouTube. So that way, anybody that happens to see this can come back and say, all right, well, they talked about this. Here's the link and talked about, right? Like show notes, like you would, right?
Yeah.
So perfect. Tread lightly. So tread lightly is one, and then leave no trace, right? Those are, when I think of outdoor ethics and learning, if you don't already know the best way to conduct yourself, I think those are the two probably that come to mind. Certainly there are plenty of others.
Yeah. They're all, and I think they're all great organizations. I'm a card carrying member of Tread Lightly. Speaking of which, I think I need to renew my membership. I think I just got the email a couple days ago.
I won't tell.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to respect the access, the land, all that stuff, or they will close it down. And
especially being
so, pick up your trash. Don't don't drive off trails. All those basic. They sound basic to people like us because we've been doing this for a while. But I was on a run last January, a snow run, and there was a kid in a little Nissan pickup truck, and he was just leadfoot hillbilly everywhere and off the trail. And finally, a bunch of us went to him like, dude, you can't do this. That's not what this is about. You're going to get this closed
He's
down.
going to get it closed to everybody.
You know, he was some young kid, but he didn't know. He did not know. And at some point, none of us knew. And so getting that idea.
And about education instead of just getting upset with somebody.
Right.
I think that's
Leading
a
by
good way to think
example.
about it.
Education.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right.
Cool.
And,
Two other
by,
quick things. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, and by us doing it, you know, hopefully other people will see it, young and old, right? You know, if there's families that see it, you know, the parents start leading by example. You know, buy trash a roof. You've got a roof, or I'm sorry, if you've got a spare tire carrier in the back, or sling it, you know, off your roof rack, and you know, have kids put in trash, or you put in trash, and you know, if you're camping, and you know, all the times on the trails, we'll try to pick up whatever we can as best as we can for the amount of room that we have left in our vehicle. We'll just take it out, pack it out, and throw it.
That's what we tell our kids anytime we're anywhere in the dirt, and we do a lot of camping. We do a lot of different things we'll talk about here in a sec. We always tell them, leave it better than you found it. I mean, it's not a difficult lesson, but if you're never taught that lesson, then you might not know it. Right. So 2 other things I wanted to mention is my wife and I have been looking at these for quite a while, these Black Series campers, because they look amazingly stout, and we've actually seen them at a couple of RV shows. I'm just in the idea of, so the term that I've been using with our kids is vehicle-based adventure travel.
Right.
So that way we're, you know, because what we end up doing is we have this. So this is our 24-foot camper, right? That we pulled with our GX last year, but that didn't do a very good job. So we switched up to a Tundra, but we pulled this trailer with our Tundra, and that's where we spend, you know, in the 3 years we've owned that RV, we've spent more time in dirt because we have young kids, 6 and a 9-year-old or 10-year-old. We spent more time in dirt in the last 3 years than we had in the previous 7 years, just because of it's I call it the condo on wheels. It pretty much has everything you need. But we use it as our base station, or as our base camp, right? We park it either in National Forest or BLM or in a park, whatever. And then from there, we take the bikes out, we go hiking, we do, you know, we off-road, whatever we're doing.
Right.
And like, to me, I don't know about calling an RV. It's obviously not an overland vehicle, but when you look at these Black Series, which are, I mean, they're pretty stout. I haven't been in one off-road yet, but it seems like you could actually pull this down a few hundred miles of dirt road and it wouldn't fall apart.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I will say that we have a little off-road trailer with a rooftop tent on it. We've had it for about, I don't know, 7-8 years now.
7 or 8, yeah.
And
Content.
it is really nice. Like, rooftop tents on the top of your vehicle are great. Don't get me wrong, but you're also always carrying around your house and all that stuff, if you will.
You need more time.
So the nice thing about trailers, whether it's something like these Black Series trailers, or even the trailers you guys were showing us just now, or you were showing us now, is you can get to where you're going, drop the trailer, and go hit the trail. So a few years ago, we went out to Ouray, and we camped at Amphitheater Campground. We disconnected our rooftop tent, which is on the trailer, and we'd sleep there and then go out for the day, hit the trails of the San Juans, and then come back at night. Never had to worry about towing the trail along with us, because we were doing loops, right? So
Well, and there are a lot of different kinds of, you know, whether they're pull behinds, you know, like an RV type setup, like what you're showing us now with the Black Series or with your RV. There are all different kinds of off-road trailers, you know, like, for instance, if you do our little Danute, which is a little home build, you know, you could build it yourself.
Fiberglass.
Yeah, fiberglass with a tube steel, with a square steel frame. Or you could do something like an X-Venture trailer. You know, they're made in America. They're based out of Wisconsin. There's different levels of all types of prices, sizes, you know, tow capacities, customizations. I mean, it's endless out there, you know, even Conqueror trailers, for instance. Our good friends have a Conqueror trailer they bought, and they toured Africa for 2.5 years, I think. Yeah. Jen and Jared out of Pioneering Spirit. So, you know, again, kind of comes down to getting out there, having fun, being safe, healthy, and, you know, keeping Mother Nature clean.
Very cool. So that reminds me, one of the other sites I started this website, like, I don't know, probably almost 10 years ago, for that very reason. Back then, there wasn't a lot of great information out there for off-road type trailers. So, and I probably only update this every couple of months, just whenever something new or cool comes out. But yeah, another great option is, so you guys have a Danute that you built yourself?
So we didn't actually build it. We, I'll give you the short story is that Scott Cheney, who runs Danute and Compact Camping Concepts. He had a custom one that he made. Yes, he's out of Salem, Oregon. He had a custom version that he called a micro Danute. It was made to be pulled behind his little Suzuki or his Geo Tractor,
that big,
or his Subaru Impreza. And I always thought, oh man, that thing would be perfect behind the little Suzuki we had at the time.
One was bright yellow, or
it was
Suzuki
just
was teal.
It was just so cool. And then it came up for sale, and we bought it. It was completely stock. So it's very similar to that gray one you can see on the screen, except ours is 13 inches narrower. So it's you can pull it behind a side by side. So we've taken that thing all the way up through Canada, all the way down to Arizona, up through the San Juans. It weighs like 700 pounds. It weighs like nothing. So.
If you were to Google the Teal Terror, I guarantee you'll just do an image search under the Teal Terror. You can look up and very quickly see that bright yellow trailer.
Yep, there it is.
Yeah, right there.
Boom. That's awesome.
That's the trailer. That was, I think, on the way back from Expo West, I think. So that's all upgraded. So the Bushwhacker fender flares, the bigger tires, I think those are Yokohamas on there.
No, they're Kumos.
Kumos and the bigger wheels, the CVT tent, all of that stuff, the jerry can holders that we kind of jerry rigged. That's all us, of course, from what you saw in stock. Yeah,
that's really cool. So that's neat. I've been following the Danute trailers and the compact trailers for quite a few years. I always thought that was really cool that you can literally just buy all the parts, get it all bolted together, right? You still do a good job, so it's good quality.
Yep.
Right.
You don't need to buy a $50,000. If you want to buy a $50,000,
ours was used. It was a prototype, bright banana yellow. Nobody wanted it. We're like, we got to take this little orphan home, and it turned out to be. It was one of the coolest investments. And, you have to go, it's bolt on, or it's bolt together, right? So, after every trail, if we're hitting a lot of washboard roads, we check all the bolts, tighten them, because we didn't realize the first couple of times we had it. We checked the next year. We're like, oh, let's just check. And they were all finger tight. It was a little scary.
No. Once a year, we'll go through it, bolt check things, and then.
Now that we know,
it's been great. It's very simple, solid axle. Leaf springs. I lifted it. I just did a spring over on it, put the 30 by 950s on it. Actually, those are 29s, but I had a Cherokee for a little while, and then so I upgraded it to 30 by 950 Yokohamas, and then we put the rooftop tent on there, and
I think for us it was what in that current instance that you have shown for that trailer with all the upgrades, a few grand.
Oh yeah, if that.
Not much. So people can get stuff, or find used military trailers, or some people have even done the little tiny Harbor Freight trailers and have taken off those wheels and used that base. It doesn't have to be expensive to get out there and have fun. We're probably the king and queen of budget travel, right? Look at what we got. So
it sounds like
I say that badly, but it's. You don't have to have a lot of money. We don't have a ton of money. So we're resourceful with what we have. We like kooky and different things. Now we have some right-hand drive Mitsubishis, but away you go. You have fun with no matter what you drive, as long as you're under your own capacity and, under your own capability.
Right. No, I really love all the stuff that you guys do. I appreciate you hopping online with me today to this little experiment of just getting online and chatting. Hopefully somebody finds this useful at some point. I think so far we haven't had more than one or two people online, but that's all good.
Everybody starts from somewhere.
Exactly. And just as a reminder for everybody, you can check out everything that Andy and Mercedes are doing on Crankshaft Culture. Any other cool links or ideas or thoughts you want to share before we wrap this up?
Just a little more self-promotion is we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook at Crankshaft Culture, Instagram at Crankshaft Culture, Twitter at Crankshaft Cult, and also on YouTube.
We got a good community too.
Yeah, great community.
Awesome. Very cool.
And then, but otherwise, we appreciate you having us on, and
thanks for having us.
It's a good time, and hope everybody's safe out there and healthy, and stay off those trails until this blows over, and we'll all be out there in the dirt again here sooner than we
stay home, upgrade, fix your stuff, and then get out there when everybody says it's okay to get back out there.
And in the meantime, there's plenty of stuff to read from you guys. And of course, we run Toyota Cruisers and Trucks magazine.
Right.
We run Live to Explore, Off-Road Trailer Info. Well, I'll link all that up in these comments. But yeah, everybody stay home, be safe, be healthy, and we'll get through this. And until next time, that's our first live stream. We'll try it again. See you guys.
See ya.
Bye.
Now I'm going to try to stop the stream if I can get it to. All right. Oh, I'd stop that. Stop. Oh,